Hi everyone, welcome back. If you've not watched the DiHybrid Podcast 1, Finding the Gametes, please stop and go do that now. This is the second podcast for dihybrids. You should be still looking at your dihybrid intro notes and notability. Split screen with this podcast and those notes so you can fill them out as we go. This page is a great overview of how to do a dihybrid. We've already covered the first couple of steps. So in this step, you start with the parents. You figure out their genotype. So this would be parent 1 and this would be parent 2. Then you figure out their gametes. So for parent 1, it can make 4 possible gametes. We covered that in the first podcast. And parent 2 can also make 4 possible gametes. Because each parent can make 4 possible gametes, our Punnett square is bigger than it was with monohybrids. We actually have 16 boxes, and what we're going to do is we're going to put one parent's gametes on the top and the other parent's gametes down the side. Inside the box is what happens when fertilization occurs, and those are our possible offspring. You simply fill in the boxes by grouping your T's and your G's. So this parent is down the side, this parent's on the top. Okay, so the offspring got a T from one parent and a T from the other parent. A G from one parent and a G from the other parent. So notice we're grouping our T's and we're grouping our G's. Within our T's, we put the capital T first, and within our G's, we put the capital G first. That's how you fill out the offspring in a Punnett square. Last but not least, we'll figure out our phenotypic ratio. I'm never going to ask you for the genotypic ratio in a dihybrid, just the phenotypic ratio. Okay, you ready to get started? Let's do some practice Punnett squares. All right, so this is always a good reminder, and we'll put this at the top of your practice slide so you can see your steps. First, figure out your genotype of your parents. Then FOIL to find the gametes. I don't know if you guys, I don't think you still do FOIL, but FOIL's first, outside, inside, last. So you start with the first, and then you do the outside, inside, last to do your gametes. That idea. You'll put your gametes on the side of the square, you'll fill it in, and you'll get your phenotypic ratio. All right, so let's practice filling in this Punnett square. It's important that you group your B's and you group your L's. This is where we kind of chemically make a lot of mistakes. I'm going to color code for this one. I'm going to make the female's gametes in red. Any allele you got from the female and the male in blue. Okay. So, this gamete, this big B came from mom, okay? And this big B came from dad. And this big L came from mom. And this big L came from dad. All right, so let's go ahead and continue this row. So we're going to move across with dad's gametes and down with mom's. Okay? So mom gave a big B, right? Because mom moves, gametes move down. All right, and so did dad. All right, and a big L from dad and a little L from mom. All right, why did I do that order? Within the B's, we put our capitals first, and then within the L's, you put the capital L before the lowercase l. Okay? All right, so keeping up with that, big B here. Mom gave the little b. Big L from dad. and the big L from Mom. Okay? All right. Big B from Dad, little b from Mom, big L, and then little L. All right, so what you should do right now is pause the video and fill in the rest of this Punnett square. Then check and make sure you did it correctly, okay? I will continue to color code and I will fill these in. And you should double check and make sure you got this, okay? Go ahead and do that now. Okay, let's look this over. So, big B from Mom, big B from Dad, big L from Mom, little L from Dad. All right. Big B from Mom, big B from Dad, little L from Mom, little L from Dad. Okay, here's another one. I'm going to put my big B from Dad in front of my little b from Mom. We always put our capitals first within the letter. All right, and then Mom gave a big L, and then Dad gave a little L. All right. Again, right here, Dad gave a big B. That's a capital, but Mom gave a little b, so the big B is going to go first. Mom gave a little L, and Dad gave a little L. All right. Down here, big B from Mom, little b from Dad, big L from Dad, big L from Mom. Okay. Big B from Mom, little b from Dad, big L. So I put my big L in front of the little L from Mom. But notice my B still went first and then my L's. Okay. I know you're wondering why I keep stressing that. It's a very, very common mistake that you'll make. All right, Mom gave the big L. And Dad gave the big L. Okay. Little b, little b, big L, little L, big B from Mom, little b. Okay, Mom gave a big L, so that's going to go first. Dad gave a little L. So again, within my B's, big B went first, and then my L's came, and my big L went first. Pretty soon, you'll be able to do these in your sleep. You just get so used to doing them. Okay, my big L from Mom will go first, and then my little L from Dad. And then this guy's got nothing but little letters, so that's super easy. Okay, so I figured out all of my baby's genotypes. Now remember, I'm never going to ask you for a genotypic ratio in dihybrids. I'm only going to ask you for a phenotypic ratio. So again, this is the guinea pigs, where black is dominant over white and long hair is dominant over short hair. So what you would do is out of the 16 guinea pigs, you would count how many have black hair that's short, my two dominant traits. How many have black hair that's long, one dominant, one recessive. And how many have white hair that's short, recessive and a dominant, and then white hair that's long, my two recessive traits. So the other tricky thing is figuring out your phenotypes. So for your phenotypic ratio, you're going to have two different phenotypes, so fur color and fur length. And you just want to make sure you have every possible combination of that, which would be 4. Okay, so let's give this a shot. All right, this is about as easy as it's going to get. Maybe even just pause the video and see if you can do this without me. All right, so I'm going to take my first parent here and figure out the possible gametes this parent can make. Okay, I only see one possible gamete, a big A and a big B. So I'm going to put that parent on the top of the Punnett square, big A and a big B. All right, this parent, I only see one possible gamete as well, little a, little b. So I'm going to put that on the side, little a, little b. All right, let's go ahead and fill in the Punnett square. So I'll bring these two gametes down and these two gametes over. Okay, so big A, oops, let me go to my pen. Big A, little a, big B, little b. Okay, so my possible offspring are heterozygous for A's and heterozygous for B's. I don't know what phenotypes it stands for, but then I'd figure out my phenotypic ratio, which would obviously be 1:1 or 1:1. Okay, now we got to add our very last layer to this. We figured out how to find our gametes. We figured out how to fill out our Punnett square. Now let's do our phenotypic ratio. All right, here we go. This is back to our guinea pigs. Remember, black fur is dominant over white fur, and short hair, and we're using a capital L to show you short hair, is dominant over long hair. All right, so to be a black-haired guinea pig, you could be homozygous dominant or heterozygous. And to be short-haired, you could be homozygous dominant or heterozygous. So I'm going to look through my guinea pigs, and I need to have at least one big B and one big L in the offspring. So let's count how many I have of those in the Punnett square. All right, so I have at least one big B and one big L here. At least one big B and one big L here, as well as here. Okay, so counting those guinea pigs, looks like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I forgot one. 9. How could I forget the first one? All right, so 9 out of my 16 guinea pigs have black and short hair. Okay, now again, to be black-haired, I have to be big B, big B, big B, little b. But to have long hair, they'd be little l, little l. So now I'm looking for my offspring that have at least one big B, but they must have two little l's. So I have 1, 2, 3. So 3 out of 16 have black fur and long hair. Okay, white is recessive. So in order for the guinea pig to be white, it has to be little b, little b. And this has short hair, so that could be big L, or big L, little l. So I'm going to go through my offspring and count how many of those I have. 1, 2, 3. So 3 of my 16 have white fur and it's short. Okay, last but certainly not least, to be long, got to be little b, little b. I'm sorry, to be white, did I say white? Little b, and long is little l, little l. So I have one of those. Okay, quick check. Add up all these numbers, 9, 3, 3, 1. They should equal to 16, and it does, so I know I did all of my counting correctly. It's always good to double check yourself. And I know I have a 9, dominant, to 3, 1 dominant, 1 recessive, to 3, the other dominant, the other recessive, to 1, recessive ratio. In fact, here's a little trick for you. Whenever you have two parents that are heterozygous for both traits, so both parents must be heterozygous for the B's and the L's, you're always going to have that 9, 3, 3, 1 ratio. The 9 being the two dominant traits, the 3 being one dominant, one recessive, the other 3 being the other dominant, the other recessive, and the 1 being recessive, recessive. Okay? And that's how you figure out your phenotypic ratio. Okay, if you feel confident enough, pause the video and do this one on your own. See if you can figure everything out. Figure out your gametes, put the gametes on the top and the side of the dihybrid or the Punnett square, fill it in, figure out your phenotypic ratios. I'm going to go ahead and do this one with you. All right, so I'm going to take this parent and figure out my possible gametes. So starting with my T, I'll go to my first P, so big T, big P. And staying with this, going to my second P. Okay, I'm done with that T. Same thing. And then my last gamete here. Okay, so I have 4 possible gametes for that parent. All right, and now I'm going to do the same with this parent. I'm sure you've probably figured out it's the same gametes. Some of you might even remember the ratio we talked about in the last slide. And you can go ahead and apply that, but I still want to work through the problem for some of you as well. Okay, go ahead and fill in your Punnett square. Remember, group your T's, group your P's. Okay, Punnett square is filled in. Let's go ahead and figure out our phenotypic ratio. So again, in this, tall is dominant over short, purple is dominant over white. I bet we're looking at pea plants here. All right, so in order to be tall, I need at least 1 big T. I could be homozygous dominant or heterozygous. Same with purple. I could be homozygous dominant or heterozygous. So how many of those do I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 out of 16 are tall and purple. Okay, tall and white. Again, I need at least 1 big T. But to be white, I have to be little p for the pea plant. Okay, how many of those do I have? I have 1, 2, 3. So 3 out of 16 are tall and white. Okay, to be short, I have to be little t, little t. To be purple, I need at least 1 big P. So big P, little p, or big P, big P. All right, how many of those do I have? 1, 2, 3. 3 out of 16. Okay, and then last but not least, to be short and white, need to be little t, and then little p. I have one of those, so 1 out of 16 will be short and white. Add up those top numbers, 9 plus 3 plus 3 plus 1 equals 16, so I didn't miss anything. All right, and there we go. There's our 9, 3, 3, 1 ratio again. And that's because my parents are heterozygous for both traits. Got to make sure they're heterozygous for both traits. Okay, I want you guys to try this one on your own. Go ahead and pause the video and fill it out. When you return, I will have the Punnett square completely filled out. Okay, take a look. Did you get it right? Did you have to do the Punnett square? Or did you remember, since the parents are heterozygous for both traits, it's a 9:3:1 ratio. If you did the Punnett square, make sure you got all of your alleles filled in correctly. You grouped your G's, you grouped your S's. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, same idea here. Green is dominant to yellow, and smooth is dominant to wrinkled. All right, we're doing a cross with a parent who is heterozygous for green, heterozygous for smooth, and one who's homozygous dominant for both traits. Can we do the 9:3:1 ratio? Can we just skip all this and write that in? No, because this parent is not heterozygous for both traits. All right, so pause the video now, do it, and then come back, see if you got it right. I will actually work through this one. So I'm going to figure out the gametes for this one. Big G, big S, big G, little s. Okay, little g, big S, little g, little s. All right, this one can only make one type of gamete, big G, big S. So you guys can kind of choose here. This is why I was stressing, getting rid of repeats. You can fill in this whole Punnett square. Your ratios will be exactly the same. You'll just have more. Or you can just fill in the top row, little less work, but everything will be out of 4 instead of 16 because you're only looking at 4 boxes. And I'm all about less work, so let's do it. So big G, big S, big S. Big G, big S, little s. Big G, big S, big S. Big G, big S, little s. Okay, so to be green, I need at least one big G, okay? So it could be big G, or big G, little g. And then to be smooth, I need at least one big S. So let's see how many of those I have. Oh, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 out of 4 is green smooth. I don't have any of the other ones. Okay, we're still sticking with the green and yellow. Green being dominant over yellow and smooth to wrinkle. These are P's. And go ahead and show the cross between these two. This plant is heterozygous for both green and smooth. And this one's heterozygous for green and homozygous recessive for smooth. Can I do the 9:3:1 ratio? No, because this guy right here, because he's homozygous recessive for there. Okay, again, pause the video, work through it, and see if you do it correctly. I will work through it as well. Okay, so I'm going to figure out this guy's gametes first. Big G, big S, big G, little s, little g, big S, little g, little s. All right, and now I'm going to do this one. I only see 2 possible gametes, big G, little s, little g, little s. Again, you could fill out the whole Punnett square. You'd get the same ratios, but it's just a little bit more work. So I'm going to just focus on the top 2 here. Okay, filling this out. Okay, in order to be green, I need at least one big G. And then same with smooth, I need at least one big S. So let's see how many of those I have. All right, so 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 3 out of 8. So why am I writing 8? Because I have 8 total boxes will be green and smooth. All right, again, to be green, I need at least one big G. But to be wrinkled, I'm sorry, I think I said green and smooth. Green and wrinkled, I need 2 little S's. All right, so how many of those I have? 1, 2, 3. So 3 out of 8, green and wrinkled. Okay. Yellow and smooth, I need to be little g, little g. Okay, I need at least one big S here. How many do those do I have? 1. So 1/8. All right. And then last but not least, to be yellow and wrinkled, I'd be little g, little s, and I have 1 of those. So my ratio's 3, 3, 1, 1. Okay? Okay guys, at this point, you're going to begin your dihybrid practice problems. And I just wanted to show you a couple things here. Your dihybrid practice problems will start with a word problem. In this case, we're back to our guinea pigs. So in guinea pigs, the gene for rough coat, it's now called bedheaded, means their hair goes everywhere, is dominant over smooth. The gene for the black fur is dominant over white. What will be your ratio if the following 2 guinea pigs were mated? So here are your alleles. Now, it's a little different from a monohybrid because you're actually going to be defining alleles for 2 traits. So for coat, you'll want to define rough over smooth, and then color, you'll know black is dominant over white. Then your parents are given to you below. So right here, it says that you have a homozygous rough coat. Okay, so remember, homozygous means the same. So homozygous rough coat would be bigger, and then homozygous for the black coat. So big B, big B. And then this parent says smooth. If it's recessive in phenotype, then you only have one possible genotype. Little r, little r. White is also recessive, so then I only have one possible genotype. Little b, little b. And those will be the parents that you cross. Go ahead and finish this sheet and reach out to your teacher if you have any questions. I hope this podcast helped.